Politics and scandals, the bread and butter of Capitol Hill drama. The recent uproar in the House over a massive $60 billion aid package to Ukraine turned heads and set tongues wagging. After what seemed an interminable wait, a cheeky deal between the Republican Speaker and the Democrats finally pushed the hefty sum through. While the halls of Congress buzzed with anticipation and backslapping, let's cut through the noise and hype to see what this really means for Ukraine and the geopolitical chessboard. And as always, we will tell you all about it. But before that, if you're a fan of non-corporate funded free news and analysis, you've landed on the right YouTube channel. Okay, let's begin. Politics and scandals. Where would we be without them? The recent ruckus in the House over the whopping $60 billion aid package in Ukraine has everyone's tongues wagging. After what felt like an eternity of delays, the Republican Speaker struck a cheeky little deal with the Democrats and voila, the funds were approved. The hype is real, folks, but let's slice through it. Now, this juicy package isn't just a lifeline tossed across the ocean to people in Kiev. It's touted as a game changer that could potentially turn the tides of the Ukrainian military struggles. Last summer's flop of a counteroffensive left everyone a bit red-faced. But hey, hope springs eternal. Ukraine, buoyed by visions of grandeur from Zelensky himself, might just stop Russia's snail-paced encroachment, or dare we dream, mount a dazzling counter-strike. But here is where the plot thickens. Only about $14 billion of this gargantuan sum is actually earmarked for new American weaponry for Ukraine. Talk about a plot twist. According to reports by The Guardian and others, the lion's share of the cash, that is $23 billion to be exact, is going back into the US to replenish their own military cupboards. And that's not all. Another $11 billion is keeping US operations chugging along in the region, with a neat $8 billion making sure Ukraine's government doesn't keel over. To the eternal optimists across the seven worlds, this aid might just prevent Ukraine from collapsing entirely. It could keep the government ticking and possibly slow Russia's crawl, averting a disastrous scenario flagged by the Ukrainian Intelligence Committee. They warned of a potential Russian breakthrough coinciding with massive protests that could topple the Ukrainian government by summer. So cross your fingers and maybe, just maybe, this grand plan will work. But then again, in the high-stakes world of international politics, isn't the House always a bit of a gamble? Despite the US shelling out a hefty aid package to Ukraine, we are not exactly seeing the grand solution everyone in Washington, D.C. hoped for. Sure, the money is flowing, but it's more of a trickle when it comes to flipping the military strategic scales against Russia. The aid might help Ukrainian officials from joining any potential rebellious choir thanks to their wallets staying padded, but let's not start the celebration just yet. Now imagine this: Russia breaks through militarily in the next few months. What is the US's play then? No last-minute Hail Mary deal between the so-called Republicans in name only, rhinos, and the Democrats would patch that crack. The US might find itself choosing between a rock and a hard place: capitulate to Russia or throw NATO into the fray. Neither option is appealing, and both are politically radioactive. It's like choosing between eating burnt noodles or just straight up swallowing the charcoal. As for the Democrats, they are in a real pickle. After pouring resources into Ukraine, the last thing they want is to lose it on their watch. They push the panic button and call in NATO, and they might just scare off those swing voters. But they could either rally behind Trump or toss their vote to a third party in protest, potentially derailing Biden's hopes for a second term. What a mess. So what has this latest aid package accomplished? Well, it certainly hasn't reduced the odds of facing this unsavory dilemma. What it has done rather grimly is ensure more Ukrainians will continue to suffer in this drawn-out conflict with no clear endgame in sight. Politics, as they say, is a ruthless game, but at what cost? Also, one more thing. Will this aid somehow set demobilization in motion? Will it allow Ukrainian soldiers to take a break and let others take their place? What did you say? No? Then be ready for Ukrainian soldiers turning their guns towards their own lawmakers. Not boasting. Nope. It's happening in Odessa. Watch this video to know more.